HB, your girl T Bird, and welcome to Queen Conversations. I am super excited today to sit down with this amazing woman that you see before you. I just want to tell you a little bit about her. This is my dear friend, Queen Keisha M. Costin, AAS. We have to throw the title in. She's affectionately known as Coach Key, and she is a self-care strategist, licensed minister, and certified belief therapist. She's a graduate of Ashworth University, and Keisha uses her gift to inspire, motivate, transform, and empower women to be their best selves, transforming their obstacles into opportunities. She is also the founder of eQueens, which is a Facebook group that I've been part of for, I don't know, over 5 years now. And that's how we connected. That's how I met her. And it wasn't until this past January or February 2020 that we actually got to be in the same room together. So I'm super excited to sit down and have this conversation with her. So Keisha, welcome to Queen Conversations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm super excited that you decided to do this with me. You look gorgeous, by the way.
And you as well. I'm excited, super excited.
Thank you. So Keisha, I just want to give our viewers a couple of did you knows, I like to call them. So did you know that according to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, from puberty to age 50, women are nearly twice as likely to develop an anxiety disorder as men? And in the past year, did you know that prevalence of any anxiety disorder was higher for females at 23.4% than for males at 14.3%?
Wow.
I was kind of surprised when I saw these numbers myself. And of course, it's understandable because as women, now we're in the workplace. We used to just kind of be at home, right, tending the kids, but now we're doing it all. We wear so many hats. Yes. It makes sense that those levels, those numbers are up. Mm-hmm. So today we're going to talk about defeating anxiety to rise to your destiny. And I was super excited for this because I know that this is your wheelhouse. This is what you do.
Yes.
So my first question for you, though, before we jump into that, is when did you discover your inner queen?
So Queen, it's actually funny. And if I could be quite honest, I'm still discovering my inner queen. When I first started the journey, even with eQueens, I had the head knowledge of what that meant. I thought I understood that. And it was like, oh yes, queen, you got authority. And actually throughout doing eQueens is where I realized maybe I'm not so connected with my inner queen, or as connected with my inner queen as I thought I was.
Okay.
And so on that platform, what happened is just through different people sharing, I got to see I had put different portions of myself in boxes. So there was the unhealed parts of me that was over here in this container, do not touch. There was the happy me in front of everybody, motivating, cheering everybody on, saying, yes, we can do this. And then there was the scared me. What if anybody found out that I really wasn't as confident as I'm showing up? So as we are continuing, I'm actually starting to get to know my inner queen.
Wow, that's powerful because you know what? I think that's one of the points that each one of us has, right? So I love the way you said there was this unhealed me. Yeah. There was the cheerleader me. Yeah. And then there was the scared me. Mm-hmm. who was worried about being found out. What if, right? Because we all do that. I think in certain points, and I'm taking notes, y'all, as I talk, because I get ahas when I have these conversations. Sure. Because a lot of times in our job, we check in, right? In our daily lives, and we wear this mask, especially in our social media profiles. We are all displaying these, fabulous best lives that we are living.
Yes.
So I'm interested. It's very interesting to hear you say, I kind of had all these compartments that I was working, and in discovering your inner queen, those compartments are kind of starting to come together is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
That's awesome. And to look at you, you would say, this girl's got it all together. There's no way she's got any kind of compartments or anything happening. So I love the fact that you're being so honest and so candid about that, because I know that when another woman hears it and sees you, they will say to themselves, you know what, I kind of got that going on too. I think we all do on certain levels.
Yes,
So was that, so was it that discovery that kind of led you to found, what gave you the thing to found eQueens?
So actually, that whole thing was not planned. I had just went through a separation. So I had been separated, and I was feeling like all the parts of me that I knew, I no longer knew.
Mm.
And I'm like, I was feeling disconnected. One day, I stayed home from work. I was having cramps, and I'm like, and this thing came about talking about gratitude, because I was in a dark place, and it was like God was reminding me to be grateful. And so he gave me this thing called what gift did you receive today? Lisa Nichols says it like this. She says that sometimes our gifts are wrapped in sandpaper.
Mm.
And so it was, what gift did you discover today? So in the midst of my breakdown, God reminded me to look about and to see the gifts that bring you every day. So I was like, okay. So I knew nothing about Facebook. I knew nothing about grouping, any of those things. I actually reached out to Queen Tarina, and I was telling her, I'm like, I'm feeling like I'm supposed to do this, but I don't know how to do it. She was like, Google it. I'm like, okay. So I did. I Googled. I put it out there. What gift did you receive today? Put a little description. Went to sleep. I invited like maybe 20 people. Went to sleep. Woke up. It was like 100 plus people on there.
Wow.
And the engagement was boom, boom, boom. And from there, the page began to unfold.
So you were stepping into your destiny before you, like you said, before you had even begun to discover who this queen is.
Yes. And I love that you said that, because so often we are stepping into our purpose, but because it becomes so natural, or because it is so natural, we're looking around trying to figure out what it is. And most of the time we're already doing it.
Mm. Yeah.
So there it is. I was doing it and I had no clue. So when somebody asked me, well, what do you do? I'm like, I don't know. Because I never put words to it. It was never a thing. It's just, what I did. So when the page started growing, after that, we did that for 30 days. And then it was like, okay, Dad, what next? And that's when I started doing a coaching group. And in this coaching group, he showed me the queen, but it wasn't the way we're thinking it was, or thinking it is now. He showed me a chessboard, and he showed me the queen on the chessboard and how she's able to move across the board. There's no place that's off limits to her. And so in that, he showed me, as women, we get to move across the boards in our life, our family's life, because you have the king on the board as well. And the queen is protecting the king. She's going forth, she's doing war. So I was able to understand it, because for most women, we live our lives for everyone else. We're giving, we're fighting, we're making sure things are happening. So that was easy for me to understand it. Even as he began to show me the other pieces, like there was instructions. They could not move across the board like we could. So that's where the whole queen came from. And then he coupled that up with the authority that he's given us as our dad, as the king. So we are royalty. And so, like I said, I had a mental picture of that, but it was like Cindy Trim says it like this. She says, word recognition, but no comprehension.
Mm.
So I was able to recognize the word queen. I was able to recognize the word authority. I was able to recognize, protecting and that. But when it fully came to embodying that, that's where there was a disconnect.
I'm getting so much, because I came into the group as things had been rolling. So to hear this history is amazing to me, and I love the fact, like you said, God gives us those he gives us those instructions. He really does, you know. Even with this, for me, that, you know, he said Queen Conversations. I don't even know what that looks like, but I'm beginning to discover what this looks like. And you mentioned Queen Tarina. She has given me her yes, and she's going to be another one that we sit down with and talk to. So I'm super excited to see that.
Yeah, she's going to rock your world, I'm sure.
The world ain't ready for her. They just, she's so awesome on so many multiple levels. I love what you said about there's no place that's off limits to the queen. Because you're right, she moves all around the board. And it's funny because in our lives, we move all around. We've got work, we've got momhood, we've got husbands, we've got families, we've got the pets, we've got that hat. I always take it like, you know, I just keep spinning that hat. I got a hat that's got all kind of titles on it, and I just keep spinning it. And some days it's like, this is just too much. I can't.
Absolutely.
So I know that I know from knowing you personally, I know gratitude is your big thing. Yes. You even had us do that gratitude challenge, right? And we the no complain challenge we did, and that was transformational for me too. And I know that you coach and help so many women in this field now. But was there a time when you had to overcome anxiety and fear?
Yes, absolutely. So even in this discussion, like I said, I had separated from a relationship that I was in for 12, 13 years at the time. Okay. And so starting over from the life that I had grown to know to this life, I don't even know what it looks like. So there was anxiety in that. What people may say, what people may think about me, you know, what are they saying? Just wondering. So all of that stuff was building that up. And to be honest, it didn't start there, because I had learned even from younger years how to, they say what happens in the house stays in the house. And so the house for me was me. What happened in my emotions stayed in my house. What happened in my thoughts stayed in my house. And so there was a lot of times that I would show up wearing a smile, but on the inside, I may have been feeling sadness or pain. And so just that created anxiety. I mastered my mess because I had worn it for so long. I knew. And I had, you know, my mom, my grandma, my aunts, they were the image of strength, a strong Black woman. We show up for whatever the occasion, and we do whatever we need to do to make it happen. I don't care what's going on in your house. You figure that out later. But in the meantime, when the crisis arises, you get up and you show up fully. So I had known how to do that for everybody but me. And so anxiety would be there. Like I might be right before I had to do something, but I had to push that down, push it down, stay focused, stay focused on the, I want to say mission ahead. Yeah. And so anxiety, depression, fear, all of those things were beginning to knit themselves within me, which is why on eQueens, try to be as transparent as possible, because I know lots of times we as women suffer in silence. And even though somebody may not raise their hand or say, hey, it's me, I wasn't telling nobody my stuff. So I know that you can still speak your truth and reach another woman, even if she never opens her mouth. I hope that answers your question.
No, it totally answers my question, because my follow-up to that was what got you through that season of your life. When did you say, you know what, I can't do this anymore? What prompted you through that?
Holding it in, I knew wasn't healthy. And so I would share occasionally with some people, but I still had that anxiety. What if people found out the truth? You know, what if people found out I wasn't perfect? Because like, even when I was younger, one of the things like my family would kind of measure some other family members up according to me, like, why can't you be more like Keisha, or Keisha did this? And so in my mind, I always had to rise to the occasion of being, perfect. Now, I know nobody's perfect, but that was a burden that I carried because I did not want to let other people down. And so realizing that it's not selfish to admit your truth. It's not selfish to need somebody to listen to you the way you've been there for others. Actually, when you don't allow other people to be there, you actually rob them an opportunity of being a part of your healing, of getting to know the true you. So they get to come along the journey with you. And so that once I started opening up, I started feeling better. Like, I didn't completely open all the way up. I'm starting to do it more now. Like, even in this conversation.
Yeah, this is pretty open and transparent. I think the secret's out, Keisha.
Listen, I felt like for years I tried to live that image, that version of that version everybody else had in mind when they thought of me. I told myself that in this year moving forward, I'm going to stand in my truth, even if it makes me uncomfortable, even if, I've been through it all. Comments, judgments. No one's been harder on me than I've been on myself. So I've given myself permission to put that over there, along with my Superwoman's cape, along with my strong Black woman's suitcase with the handle self-martyr. I put it all over there.
I like that, the strong Black woman suitcase.
There's some baggage that comes in there. We got to unpack that.
There's a whole lot of things that go in that suitcase. You are 100% right. I agree with you. When I began to allow myself to be vulnerable in public, because you're right. We show up as this image of who people think we are. And what's really crazy is if we really sit down with folks, that's really not always who they think we are. But we've built this up in our heads that that's who they think we are. It's like a double, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Which of course is why we walk around biting our nails and having panic attacks and freaking out and just losing it.
Absolutely.
And it's funny because so many people do suffer from anxiety. It takes on many forms for different people. Do you have any of those things that you can share with us of how it showed up for you, or how you've even seen it in some of the women that you coach?
Yes. So and I actually jotted a couple of things down. Like you said, panic attacks. That part where we're just like, you can't even take a breath. Separation anxiety, being so attached to life a certain way that when it's no longer that way, like not knowing how you're going to move forward, that disconnect. Post-traumatic stress. I had been in an abusive relationship in my younger years that I never dealt with because I put that in my suitcase. I had been raped in my younger years that I put in my suitcase, and I just kept showing up. And so I meet women who are suffering with things like this, examples, feeling like you're not a good enough mom, feeling like, you're going to disappoint your child. So doing the, what is it called? Jotted it down. Obsessive compulsive. Just doing things because you're worried it's not going to work out. Hovering over our kids. I mean, we want to protect them, but when we're like that helicopter that's just right over top of them, we don't give them room to breathe or to discover who they are. What else? Social anxiety. Afraid of crowds, speaking in public, speaking in groups, just what are they going to think about me? What happens if I embarrass myself? those judgments.
And what top 3 tips do you give your clients to manage their anxiety?
So I have this acronym. The first one is WAIT, and that's why am I thinking this? Wait, WAIT. Why am I thinking this? Most of the times we are creating craziness in our mind. Worst case scenario, which makes us anxious. I mean, things that most of the times don't even happen. But we painted that picture in our mind that it's going to happen like this. And so it's like, wait, why am I thinking that? So you take that pause and then think, THINK. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Take a deep breath. Get out your head and come back to this moment. In this moment right here, is it happening? Not in the past, not what happened yesterday, because most of the times we don't stay in the present moment. So we think about our past and we build that like, well, it may happen because it happened then. And so we're focused on past and future, but we don't sit in the present moment.
Love it. Wait, think, take a deep breath. You know, and it's true, because when we do that, just that deep breath alone will help the body to settle, right? It'll help us to just, and I love that. Wait, why am I thinking this?
Mm-hmm.
I love that, because a lot of times we really don't know. And I think you're 100% right. That first step in managing it is figuring out what is happening. Did something trigger something from before, or what is happening? Why is this thought? For a lot of us, it's a constant recording that plays in the background that we're not even aware of, right? It's like our modus operandi, as they say, right? That's just our default. We hear something or see something and we go right into this thing. And it's a lot of times just taking that moment to look at it and say, why am I thinking that? That's not what was said. Or did I take that the wrong way? I mean, that's not only good for people who deal with anxiety, that's good for all of us.
Yes. Yes.
Especially right in this time when we are all kind of restricted and you know, I know there's a lot of panic and fear around what's happening in our world today.
Yes.
So to just wait, why am I thinking this? Do I feel like I'm coming down with something? No. But maybe that news report I just watched put that thought in my mind, and maybe I need to just think my way through this for a minute. Sit down, take a deep breath. Okay, I'm okay. Am I okay? Is my family okay? We're okay. And I love that. Those are great tips to give. Now, of course, you and I share the belief that every woman is a queen.
Yes.
But there may be somebody watching us today who has not discovered her inner queen. Mm-hmm. And maybe she doesn't feel like we're in any way, shape, or form talking to her, or to look at us, she says, there's no way they know what I'm going through. So what do you say to that woman who doesn't know who she is, that she's a queen?
So I actually want to read this. It's not really a quote, but I want to read this phrase. It says, a queen with no knowledge of herself will imitate her environment, being a self-made imposter who lives everyone else's version of her, but never activates her true authority to dominate. Now, all of that just wrapped up everything that I've shared. So I would say to her, I understand what it means to be a self-made imposter, wearing versions that we believe is benefiting others. But you were sent here to this planet to deliver a message. You are already equipped by the King of Kings himself. And if you would step in to who you are in him, your true identity, not only will you blow your own mind, but you will be able to serve the people who are looking to you for answers. It's important for you, Queen. And I say Queen because you're not your past. You're not what's been done to you. You're not the things that you've done. I know what it is to walk in shame. I know what it is to walk in guilt. I know what it is to feel disconnected. Like, I don't even measure up. And the truth of the matter is I don't. But what I love about God, because I am a Christian, and I know that I am in Christ. And what he showed me was like an incubator where a baby lies in. So he's that incubator, and I'm inside of him. I know that it's not what I do. And we're going to talk about destiny later, but that's what our destiny is, to become his image in the earth, so that we are delivering, we are able to impact this world in such a way that down here looks like heaven. And so we need you, Queen, is what I would tell her, to get past all that stuff. Yeah, I'm qualified to say it now because I worked through my stuff.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, I wasn't qualified, but I'm qualified to say, work through it. And guess what? When you show up just the way you are with your stories and your truth, you'll be surprised how many people gravitate or resonate with that. So I would tell her, oh no, yes, sis, you a queen.
Yes, I know you would. I can vouch for that. Because I've seen you in action. And when you walk into a room, any woman that is not feeling her 100% authentic self, that doesn't last. Not in your presence. And I love that. And that's great. That was a great answer. I love it. So tell me this. What do you feel like the path to discovering that inner queen looks like?
Being honest with yourself.
Basic tips.
Being honest with yourself. The first thing is to recognize where you are. Not where you think you are, not where you want to be, not where other people told you, but where you really are. That was my thing. I was looking at, who I was going to become, but I never dealt with where I was. So once we realize who we are, realize where we are, and then compare it to where we're going, there's a gap in between. So the gap is finding out the process of how to get from where you are to where you're ultimately going to become.
Yes, ma'am. I'm having so much fun because, when God told me to do these, I was like, I don't even begin to know what this looks like. But he just gave me people names, and you were one of the first that came up on the list. And I was so excited for today because I knew that this conversation, this Queen Conversations is stories of trepidation, tragedy, and triumph. And I'm hearing you talk, and I'm hearing all of those things, right? Because fear kind of kept you back a little bit. So that was the trepidation of it. Can I do this? I don't even know anything about Facebook. Google it.
Yeah.
Right?
Google is your friend.
Google is one of my best friends, actually. And then, I hear a little tragedy in your story. We maybe we'll get to sit down another time, and you'll really share some of that with us. And now I'm looking at you, and I'm hearing the triumph. I think what an amazing journey that you've been on, and to know that really you're just kind of scratching the surface, right? Because we're all evolving every day and progressing forward, stretching ourselves. One of the things you always encourage us to do in Queens is to stretch yourself, is to, once you give that yes, and I think that's what happens. A lot of us, we give our yes and we say, I'm willing to do it. But then it's getting that activation, like you said, going between where you are right now and where you want to be, and working what that stuff in the middle looks like. That is so important, and it's so powerful. And I think a lot of times we try to skip that middle step.
Yes.
Nobody wants to do the work.
Right.
We want the glory and we've got the story, but we really don't want to do the work in between that it takes. to
Absolutely.
overcome some of that stuff. And, you know, even with what we're talking about with overcoming anxiety, you know, it takes those moments, it takes those steps, right? Wait, think, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
We have to put those things into practice. It won't go away overnight.
Not at
It
all.
won't, you know, it's a process. And I think I love what you said about giving yourself permission, because as we give grace, I think, to everyone else in our lives, but we don't give it to ourselves.
Absolutely.
We demand so much of ourselves. And I think I'm pretty sure it was you that posted it one day about be careful what you say about yourself because you're listening.
Yes. And it's so true.
It's so true, you know, and I don't, and as women, we really not only do the one thing I love about what you've created in eQueens is not only do you encourage us to be good to ourselves, but you also encourage us to be good to one another.
Yes.
You know, and it's truly a place where women can lift each other up, encourage each other, and it's amazing because I some of those ladies, they are just bold-faced and honest. I'm struggling, y'all, pray for me, or somebody call me because I'm not feeling right, you know. And I think it's such a beautiful community that has been created. So, Coach Key, when people hear your story, what is the one thing you want them to know?
That it is okay to take care of others, but it's important to take care of you.
How do you take care of you?
I get up in the morning, I get connected, spend time with Dad, I'm asking him to show me my shortcomings and teach me how to work through them, how to embrace all of me, the broken part of me, the scared part of me, and the cheerleader me. I know her. She's the strong one. But the rest of them, I'm getting to know. And know that it's okay to show up just as me.
I love that. And we often hear embrace your destiny.
Yes.
So if you had to give our viewers 5 steps to do that daily, what would they be?
5 steps to do that daily. Affirmations, because you want to continue to speak to who you are. You can look in the mirror and decree it. You can record it so you can hear your voice, because we know faith comes by hearing. And yes, that is with the word, but it's also with the words that we say. So the more you hear it, the more you believe it, the more you become it. We talked about meditation, being able to sit and get still, to go within, even during this time. See, there it is. Even during this time of social distancing, where we had to pause and go within. And I was seeing how God showed me that we are his house. So now it's a time of coming away from all of the distractions and the noise and getting back into our homes, where there's that place we get to commune with him. We get to drown out the doubt, the fear, the anxiety, and we get to hear his voice. When we hear his voice, not only do we hear it, but he qualifies us to repeat what he's saying. And so meditation is very important. I know, sometimes there's the thing with that, but when I'm saying meditation, I'm talking about going to that secret place where you can get still and you can talk to the Father so that he's giving you instruction and direction. Journaling. You got to view your thoughts. I shared the other day that it's not so much what's wrong with you, it's what you're thinking. I did an exercise for myself. I've passed it down to a couple of clients, but where every hour I would literally stop and jot down what I was thinking. So at 9 o'clock, I started jotting whatever thoughts was in my mind at 9. And then I would go on with my day. At 10 o'clock, I would stop and I would jot it down, because I needed to see not only what I was thinking, but what keeps coming back up. A lot of times we're not in tune with what we're thinking. We're just kind of on autopilot. We're just going. And so it feels like things are just happening or showing up. But no, we are creating it. We're creating it with what we think. with our intentions, whether we know it or not. And so once we get in tune with it, we start to recognize what it is, then we can shift that. We can ask ourselves, is this true? Is this a fact? Is this a fact?
Yeah.
Is this an emotion?
Yeah.
Is this faith-filled? And when we get to examine those questions, I mean, if it's a lie, we get to cross it out. Like, you're not going to be able to get back. Let's just say one of the thoughts are, girl, you ain't getting back after this. You ain't getting back up after this. Life is over. Then you think about it. Was there another time that you felt? Did you get back up? So that thought is not a fact. It's an emotion. It's a feeling. It's what's coming up in this moment. But you got to pull back on your resources. That's another thing I would say. Write down your accomplishments. How many was that, Terry?
This is number 4.
Okay.
Girl, listen, this ain't on the phone. If you got more than 5, we'll take them.
Write down your accomplishments. Write them down. Why? Because in your low moments, you may need to pick that book back. And I'm saying book because I'm talking about write down the small things too, not just the degrees that you got. But if you overcame an obstacle today, write that down because that's reason to celebrate. You know, I'm all about celebration. We got to pause and celebrate. No, we can't let this moment pass. We have to stop and we have to celebrate it. Why? Because you want to imprint that on your brain. So you have more victories in there than you have defeats. When the defeats come, we stop and we got to call everybody and tell them what's going on, and we're crying and we're moaning and we put an imprint. We're putting an imprint on our brain. So that's why a lot of times when we go back to a point of reference, it's the failures that come up because those are the things that we stop and take real moments. You know, something come up good, it's just like, oh yeah, that was nice, and you keep going. But no, I need you to stop. You know, jump up and down, call somebody, get your little pom-poms, be your own cheerleader, put on your music, whatever you need to do to celebrate that moment. It's yours. So write them down. So when you are having that bad moment or you feeling like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it, you can pull up that book and say, I felt that way when such and such happened, and these are the results. Because we need more facts and more faith-filled stuff in our storehouse than just feelings. I would say do a gratitude jar. Something exciting happens, put it in that jar. I told my daughter one time she was going through the roughest time of her life, and she was just feeling like everything was happening to her, and you know, why me, and this, that, and I said, girl, you got a roof over your head. Thank you, Lord. You got food to eat. You don't have to worry about buying it. You don't even have to worry about where it's going to come. You know that it's there. You can turn on a light switch and there's light.
Come on.
People don't have that. So the things we take for granted, we got to stop. In those moments where we're feeling like, woe is me, pull out that thing. Get some reasons to be grateful. I'm going to stop.
Well, that was 5. So you did great. If you got a bonus one, we'll take it.
Get an accountability partner.
Ooh, yes.
You know, in this day and time, we do talk about our internal work, and, you know, we talk about going within and, you know, not necessarily taking other people's, listen, I know that there are some earth angels, so I would never cut that off. I need my sisters in my life.
Me too.
Because when I'm down and I'm feeling like I can't get up and I'm not applying these things, I need you to bring it back. Like, girl, what about this? Remember where that celebration book, you pulled it out? Where that gratitude? Dust that off. Dust that off. Get that dust off of here.
Yes.
You know what? In a minute, huh? I need that. And I'm like, you know what, girl, you right. I might give you an attitude. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I'm like,
we'll get an eye roll.
Give me 48 hours. I'll be like, thank you. I appreciate it. That's 48. Before it used to be weeks. But and that's another thing. That's another
something to celebrate.
You put time in. Put a time limit. Okay, you have a fall, you had something to complain about, you have, tragic moment. Give yourself, how long are you going to give yourself to stay in this moment? I say don't let it be longer than 48 hours. Now, I'm not talking about, you lose somebody or something like that. I'm talking about something happens that offends you or gets on your nerves, instead of stuffing it, because that's something that was a big thing for me. I just keep on until one day I just blow up. And you be like, where'd that come from? All those years that I kept pushing it down, today I'm tired.
So today we get the whole suitcase. That's like when you go to put one more item, you don't overpack that bag. You go to put one more item in there, and instead of closing, it springs open.
I'm throwing it at you. You get all of it. All of it.
I love this. This is so good. That was actually 7. I like 7. That's a good number to give us. I love that. Because that's how we get to our destiny. That's how we embrace it. That's how we start heading towards those moments. And I love that. When did you know?
It's the small things. I'm sorry. It's the small things. Sometimes we make them so big that we can't see our way to that yet. So if you start with the small things, I remember not long ago when I was feeling a little overwhelmed, and I said, you know what? I just need some small wins, because it's the small wins that's going to give you the confidence. So when you something to put in your celebration journal, when you came over that, overcame that, and you saw, wait, it wasn't even that bad. Because the anxiety comes when we make things worse than they actually are. So when we're able to pause, to wait, to ask ourselves, why am I thinking that? Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring, necessary, kind? We can go back and say, wait a minute, why am I thinking that? Because the last time this came up, it didn't even end up the way I thought. And then even if it ended up bad, I actually gained a lesson from that. So I say it was the price of admission. You gain some lessons. Okay, so now guess what? I know as a queen, I can dominate in that area. It's no longer a scary thing. So when it comes across my path on my board, I know, okay, I see you. I recognize you. I've overcome you. So today I get to stand on the shoulders of my story. I'm no longer swallowed up by the events that took place in my story.
Whoa, that's powerful. Today I get to stand on the shoulders of my story. We always think we're standing on the shoulders. We hear we're standing on the shoulders of our ancestors. We stand on the shoulders of our mom. But when you get to that place where you say, I'm standing on the shoulders of my story, it no longer owns me. It no longer controls me. I am standing in my destiny. That is powerful. Today, that's going up on a t-shirt somewhere. Today I get to stand on the shoulders of my story. That is, when did that day come for you?
You want the truth?
Yeah.
I did long ago. I'm owning it. I'm owning my life, my story. I'm not sitting here worried about, oh, what are they going to think? Oh, what if this person did? I'm like, girl, it's your truth. Own it. Stand in it. It's okay. Those are the lessons you gain. Somebody else can view. I mean, we can be in the same service. And we all get something different from the message. So this is my part. And I'm offering it to somebody else who it may resonate with, to say, hey, this is what I've done. And if you can take any of these tips and apply it to yourself, hey, and if not, I'm a self-care strategist. We can sit down together and find out, because no coach knows an individual the way they do. You may share some things with me, but I'm not going to know every experience. And so what worked for me and my experience and the things that I came through may not work for you. So it's about coming together, coming up with a strategy that's uniquely you, so that you can work your course and end up in the destination that God had in mind when he breathed breath into you. Because that's what it's about. It's not about me making a duplicate of me, but it's about you becoming his image. And so if I can be light that shines bright enough so that you can see that you are a queen as well, like just illuminate that dark room so you can see, wait, is that a crown? Yes, girl. Not only is it a crown, but it's your crown. It's on your head. You might have forgotten it was there. I'm just here to remind you, no, it's there and I see it. I need you to see it. Because other people can see all of that in us, but until you see it, you're like a queen who doesn't know she's a queen. So you're not dominating. You're not operating in your authority. You're just becoming the environment.
Well, I'm soaking all of this up. I think this is so good. This is so good on so many levels. I got notes all over the place because I think, as I've shared with you before personally, I think that your views on this, the way that you have instructed so many women to point them in this direction, it's phenomenal. And I love what you said about all of it, your affirmations, your a celebration journal. I think, and I love the way you gave the tips of journaling what you're thinking every hour in a day. That can be so revealing. I think when we hear, often when we hear people say journal, you hear people say that journal, but they don't really give you like an idea of what that can look like. And I think a lot of times the reason that we don't is because it just seems to be too much, right? Especially for some of us, for if you're a mom and you're working and you got kids and you this and that and life is happening. Of course, right now we all got a lot of time because we're not going as many places as we were. But that self-check-in even every hour.
Yes.
What, and to sit down, I'm gonna try that in the next 24 hours and see what that looks like.
It's powerful.
Yeah, it has to be. And it's so funny too, because, I think a lot of us think in order to journal, we have to have this set time that we set apart in a day, it's late at night before we go to bed, when most of us are just, quite frankly, we're so exhausted, we just fall out. You know what I mean? The last thing I want to do, honestly, is pick up a book and write about my feelings at that particular point in the day. So to break it down like that, though, you know what? At 9 o'clock, when I woke up, this is what I was thinking. At 10 o'clock, this is what I was thinking. To be able to examine that after a day, and, I'm challenging anybody who's listening, do that and see what you discover about yourself in that day, because it's so true. We all have those thoughts, no matter how positive we maintain and try to be. There's always that thing somewhere along the way that pops up that goes, you can't do this. You can't. What are you doing?
Absolutely.
For me lately, it's been, you don't know nothing about producing a talk show. What are you doing?
I can't tell. You're doing great.
Well, that's good. That's good. That means that God is doing what he does, and that's how we rolling with it. But if I'm being honest and I'm being 100% transparent, and I've never been a person who necessarily is paralyzed by fear, but it doesn't mean I don't have them, and a lot of people see me and they think, oh girl, nothing scares you. That's not true. There's plenty of things that scare me. But a lot of times I just do it anyway.
Absolutely.
This is one of those things.
And that's where that courage comes in, because courage doesn't cancel out fear. It just said, yeah, you're here, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I've got one last question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
I can't believe that our time together has almost come to an end. Does anxiety still affect you today?
I was anxious before I got on this call. I told you my stomach was acting crazy. I was like, oh my God. But I said to myself, what you will not do is put that face back on.
Nice.
What you will not do is go back to your old ways. Now, you are going to go, you're going to show up, and you're going to be exactly who God called you to be. Know that your story matters the same way that you said it to others. So that applies to you too. And so here I am, anxious and all.
Well, you did a fantastic job. I can't wait for you to see it, watch yourself, because I know that the words that you've given, the conversation that you've given are going to be very impactful to a lot of women. And you're going to change a lot of perspectives, and you're going to see a lot of ladies come to a freedom that they didn't know before. So I am super, super grateful that you sat down. This is definitely going in my gratitude journal today. I'm really over the moon that we got to sit down and do this. And I know, like I said, that you'll come back and we'll do some other stuff too. What I want to say to our viewers is, did you recognize yourself today in anything that you heard Coach Key say? Are you dealing with anxiety? Are past traumas and fears keeping you back from achieving your destiny? Do you feel stuck? Are you ready to take the next step? Are you ready to get some freedom in your life? I'm going to put a link to a group that I've started on Facebook called Release Me, where you'll be able to get some free resources. You'll be able to connect with Coach Key, because she is a coach and she is fantastic. And are you still taking on clients?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
Actually, I'm going to I'll be launching a program. It's called She Dares to Self-Care on my birthday. So on the 26th
of this month?
On Tuesday.
Well, first of all, happy birthday, Queen.
Thank you.
All right, so that's awesome. So we will put resources in the Release Me group so that you can connect with Coach Key and find out what's happening with that program and get hooked up with her, as well as some of our other queens that have been on. Again, lady, I am so grateful to you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us today. This has been one amazing conversation, and I look forward to doing it again.
Me too. Thank you. You've been great. I knew you would. You're always so warm and inviting. So it's easy to talk to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That means a lot. So listen, guys, join us next time for Queen's Conversations. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, share this with a woman who needs to hear it, and listen to it again yourself. Take some notes. I know I will. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us on Queen Conversations. It's your girl T Bird. See you later.
Love you. Thank you.
Love you.
Sunshine, brighten up my day.